Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into the career of Cheng Pei-pei.
Oh, a fascinating choice.
She's such an icon. And sadly, she passed away last year, in July 2024.
Yeah, what a loss for the film world.
But her legacy is immense.
For sure.
We're going to focus on a pivotal moment in her career.
A real turning point.
Exactly. Her jump into the world of comedy, specifically with Stephen Chow's Flirting Scholar.
Flirting Scholar. Such a classic.
For those who might not know Cheng Pei-pei's work beyond that film, let's touch on her early career first.
Yeah, that's important context.
So where do we even begin? She was a martial arts star, a true pioneer in the genre.
Absolutely, in a time when it was mostly dominated by men, too.
So much talent and athleticism. Her screen presence was captivating.
Completely. And as her career went on, she started exploring different kinds of roles.
Which brings us to Flirting Scholar.
But hold on, before we jump into the film itself, did you know the role of Mrs. Hua almost went to someone else?
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was initially offered to Gong Lei.
Wow, Gong Li. That would be a completely different take on the character.
Right, she had just won a big award in Germany and was worried about maintaining her image.
I can see that.
It makes you wonder, though, what her Mrs. Hua would have been like.
It does.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it's hard to picture anyone but Cheng Pei-pei in that role now.
Totally agree. And there's another layer to this.
Oh.
Cheng Pei-pei didn't exactly jump at the opportunity either.
That's interesting.
She was a single mom, raising 4 kids, facing financial pressures.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
She later admitted that she took the role partly out of necessity.
Really?
She even said, "I couldn't afford not to eat." Right.
That's such a powerful statement.
It is, isn't it?
It reveals a certain down-to-earth quality, you know?
Definitely a realness that I think resonates with a lot of working actors, especially single parents.
Yeah, facing those everyday challenges.
And it also makes you appreciate her dedication to her craft.
Absolutely. Even when things were tough.
It's inspiring, really.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I imagine that pragmatism might have helped her navigate the world of Mole Tao comedy.
Yes, Mole Tao. That's a whole other deep dive right there.
Okay, so for our listeners who are new to this, what is Mole Tao? How would you describe it?
It's a unique Hong Kong style of comedy.
Uniquely Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's deeply rooted in the culture there.
So it's more than just nonsense comedy as it's sometimes translated.
It is. It's got layers.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, it often involves wordplay, puns, things that are really specific to the Cantonese language.
I see. So it's not something you can easily translate or just replicate in other cultures.
Exactly. It's got the specific cultural context.
Fascinating. So, how did Cheng Pei-pei, coming from this very disciplined background of martial arts films, how did she approach this wild, unpredictable world of Mole Tao comedy?
Well, she was actually pretty unfamiliar with it at first.
No way.
She even said she couldn't understand nonsensical movies at all.
That's hilarious. So what'd she do to prepare? How did she get into that headspace?
Her manager stepped in and told her to watch all of Stephen Chow's films.
Like a Mole Tao crash course.
Pretty much. Imagine her immersing herself in those films, trying to grasp that rhythm, that absurdity.
That's incredible. Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
So what was it like for her to work with Stephen Chow himself?
That's where things get even more interesting. Chow is a comedic genius.
Oh, absolutely.
But he's known for being very serious on set.
Really? That's surprising.
Cheng Pei-pei observed that he doesn't laugh in the creative process.
Wow. You'd think with all that zany humor there'd be laughter everywhere.
Right. But he was focused, meticulous, wanted to get every detail just right.
Even in a genre that seems so spontaneous.
Exactly. Like he was conducting an experiment in comedy,
That's a great way to put it. And this attention to detail, is it evident in any particular scene?
Oh, absolutely. The smiling half-step nail scene.
Oh, yes. That iconic scene with the poison disguised as a beauty product.
Pure comedic gold.
It seems so simple, so effortless.
But you know what? That scene took an entire day to shoot.
Seriously. A whole day for that short scene.
Chow was so meticulous. He'd review every take, wouldn't move on until everyone on set genuinely laughed.
Wow, that's dedication. He wasn't just going for the joke. He wanted real, genuine laughter.
Exactly. He wanted that authentic reaction.
It's amazing to think about all the layers that go into creating something that seems so effortless on screen.
It really is. And that's just one aspect of Cheng Pei-pei's journey.
Right, we've only just scratched the surface.
We still need to delve deeper into this world of Mole Tao and how Flirting Scholar became such a phenomenon.
Well, then let's delve in. So we're talking about Stephen Chow's approach to filmmaking and his dedication to genuine laughter. I imagine it must have been quite a shift for Cheng Pei-pei stepping onto a set like that.
You must have been. Coming from that martial arts background and then diving headfirst into this world of Molei Tao.
Speaking of Molei Tao, I think we need to dig a little deeper into that for our listeners.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
So we've established it's more than just nonsense. What are some of the key elements that really define Molei Tao as a comedic style?
Well, one thing is the language itself. It plays with Cantonese in a way that's really hard to translate.
Oh, like how?
It's full of puns and wordplay that just wouldn't make sense in other languages.
Because it's so specific to the culture.
Yeah, it's tied to the nuances of Cantonese and that Hong Kong sensibility.
So it's not just about being silly, there's a real art to it.
Absolutely, it's a very specific type of humor.
Apart from the language, what else contributes to the Molei Tao style?
Well, there's a certain rhythm to the jokes, like rapid-fire delivery,
Oh, I can see that.
and it often involves subverting expectations.
So taking something familiar and turning it on its head.
Exactly. Like, think of that scene in Flirting Scholar where Tang Bohu disguises himself as a beggar.
Oh yeah. The way he uses his calligraphy skills to write those over-the-top begging pleas.
Pure Molei Tao.
And how he interacts with the other beggars. It's so absurd, but it works perfectly.
Right, it's all about that contrast.
And what about that scene where he's trying to impress Mrs. Hua with his poetry, and it's all nonsense rhymes about cockroaches and smelly socks?
Oh man, that one gets me every time. And Cheng Pei-pei's reactions as Mrs. Hua are priceless.
Trying to keep her composure while all this craziness is unfolding around her.
Exactly. It's like Molei Tao uses that straight man element so well.
It really does.
Okay.
And it showcases Cheng Pei-pei's comedic timing perfectly.
Oh, she's brilliant in it.
She could have been totally overshadowed by Stephen Chow's energy, but she holds her own.
It shows how versatile she was as an actress.
Right. Going from martial arts to this completely different style of comedy.
And she nails it. It's not just about her performance, though. The film itself has had such an impact.
It's become a cult classic, hasn't it?
People still quote lines from it, dress up as the characters, it's become part of the culture.
And I think that speaks to the power of Molei Tao done right.
It's more than just silly humor. It connects with people on a deeper level.
Beyond the laughs, Flirting Scholar taps into something else, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got layers. On one hand, it's a love story.
Right, but there's more to it.
It's also about rebellion, defying expectations.
Tang Bohu, the talented artist, refusing to conform.
Always pushing the boundaries, even if it's through these ridiculous antics.
And Mrs. Huya, representing that traditional authority he has to overcome.
But even she has her moments of vulnerability, you know? She's not just a one-dimensional character.
It's true, she's complex.
And Cheng Pei-pei brings so much depth to the role.
It's amazing how she can balance the humor with those moments of real feeling.
So we've talked about Molei Tao, we've talked about Cheng Pei-pei's performance, but there's one question that's been on my mind.
What's that?
What drew her to this type of role in the first place? What was it about Molei Tao that resonated with her after such a successful career in martial arts films?
That's a great question. I think to answer that, we need to look at the bigger picture of her career, beyond just Flirting Scholar. What was it about this comedic role that appealed to her after being such a huge martial arts star? Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know, maybe she was looking for something new, a new challenge.
Yeah, to stretch those creative muscles, you know?
Maybe as she got older, she started to see the humor in life differently.
That's a good point. Life experiences can definitely change your perspective.
And for an artist, that can really influence the roles they take on.
Don't forget, she was a single mom raising 4 kids.
Oh, right. That must have been tough.
So maybe she was drawn to the lightheartedness of Molei Tao, you know, as a balance to the seriousness of everyday life.
That's really interesting. It reminds us that actors are real people with real lives outside of their roles.
Exactly, and those experiences shape their performances.
It makes you appreciate her portrayal of Mrs. Hua even more.
Right. She brought so much depth to that character, even with all the comedic chaos. It's that balance of humor and heart that really makes her stand out.
She wasn't just delivering jokes, she was creating a character the audience could connect with.
And that ability to connect with people, I think that's what defines her legacy.
Not just in Hong Kong cinema, but globally.
She took risks. She wasn't afraid to try new things.
She showed that you can be a martial arts star, a dramatic actress, and a comedic force all in one.
And she did it all with such grace and talent.
So what do you think made Flirting Scholar such a lasting success?
Well, first of all, it's hilarious. The humor is timeless.
Even if you don't get all the Cantonese wordplay, it's still funny.
It's the kind of movie that can bring people together, you know.
Yeah, no matter what your background is.
And I think it also taps into these universal themes.
Like Freedom, rebellion, love conquering all.
And it does it in a way that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
You can watch it for the laughs or dig deeper and find meaning in the subtext.
That's the mark of a true classic.
It's a movie for everyone, young and old.
So if our listeners want to see more of Cheng Pei-pei's work, where should they start?
Oh, there are so many great films to choose from.
I know, right?
If you want to see her early martial arts stuff, check out Come Drink With Me.
Yeah, that's a classic.
And for something a little different, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a must-see.
She's fantastic in that.
And of course, you have to revisit Flirting Scholar.
Definitely.
Watch it with fresh eyes, pay attention to her performance as Mrs. Hua.
It's a reminder that even in a comedic role, she brought such depth and humanity to her characters.
She was a truly gifted artist.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dives into the amazing career of Cheng Pei-pei.
We hope you enjoyed exploring her journey with us.
From martial arts icon to comedic legend.
She truly left an incredible mark on the world of film.
And hopefully this has inspired you to revisit her films or discover some new ones.
And maybe it's sparked some thoughts about the power of adaptability in your own life.
Because just like Cheng Pei-pei, we can all embrace new challenges and keep growing as artists and as people.
That's a great takeaway.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.